Good morning, everyone. It's 11 o'clock and I've got my coffee. I hope you have. So it must be time for this week's career-puccino. So a little extra shot of my wisdom, or certainly my experience that I've had working over 20 odd years with postdocs, bringing that to bear on a topic that I know is important to postdoc people. So grab your coffee. Today's mug has a hamster on it. And we're going to be talking today about writing strongly about yourself in applications. And I think we all know why it's important to do that, but let's just make sure the elephant in the room has a name. You're in a competition. It's very important that you make yourself come across in your application the best person you can be. And the key with any application, whether it's a simple send us your CV, write us a letter, fill in this dreadful form, whatever it might be, the key is we are not with our form. Therefore, we can't leave it up to someone else's imagination to fill in the gaps. We have to declare that we are a world leader in whatever field. We have done groundbreaking research. We don't go with our form. We have to say what every piece of experience that we have in our life actually means to the future employer. The reason that we need to declare this is that if we don't, then the future employer can decide for themselves what that piece of experience means. And so it's really important to make sure that you are channeling that potential employer or funder, whoever it might be, down the same road that you want them to take. And talking positively about yourself is a key part. And the reason for this career puccino today is the thing that I know that postdocs struggle with most. I think we're all, super, super lovely, clever, intelligent people, but quite modest when it comes to talking about how fantastic you all are. And you are fantastic. So let's dive in. I'm going to start with it's hard to overdo. So this is, that I love my coffee, and I have yet to come across, is this true? Yes, I've yet to come across a postdoc who overdid talking about themselves in their application. I have come across a couple of undergraduates who I've looked at their CVs and they've gone, this has been the first year in their degree, and they've basically said that I'm on track to get a first in my third year. And it's like, little bit early days to be saying that. Something I think we've been through the process of PhD, you might have done masters, you might be on your first or second postdoc. By the time you've reached this level, you know that you are surrounded by amazing people. But the thing that people forget is that you, as a postdoc, are amazing. So you are highly literate, highly numerate, problem solving, project managing, wonder person. Okay, so you are. I'm very firmly of the belief that postdocs are superheroes. It is hard to overdo this. So if you think, I'm not quite sure about putting it in, put it in. Put it in, try it out. Chances are you won't overdoing it, but it is a competition. So you need to make sure that you are singing your praises. No one else is going to. Your employer is not going to take a detailed look at your form and go, you know what? I think they've probably done this, this, and this, but they've missed those out. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They're not going to do that. They're looking at your application form. If it's a CV, 30 seconds or less. Absolutely. Super quick. Scarily so. So if you think you're overdoing it, put it in. Write the best, most positive things you can write about yourself. Put them in, put the document down, step away from the computer, go off for a walk, give it some time, and then come back to it. I know for sure that when I've written something and I think, oh, I'm not sure, when I come back, I'm often thinking, oh, actually, that is pretty good. I like that. And the same is true with applications, but I very much doubt you have overdone it. We'll come on to the importance of feedback later and sanity checking what you've written, but it is impossible usually for most people to outdo themselves. You're going to be much more modest, which is why we're doing this career Puccino. You're going to be down that end rather than the overdoing end. The other thing to think about is, do you really want this fellowship, postdoctoral job, job outside academia, whatever it is, whatever it is that you're applying for? Do you really want it? If so, play the game. Absolutely make sure you play the game. If you don't want it, can I ask you to do yourself and the world a favour and not put in an application? It will shine through if you don't want one. And it's just a waste of time. These things take a long time to get right. So unless you really want it, don't apply. But if you do want it, you have to play the game. That includes following the format of whichever dreadful form the university has decided that you need to fill in, but also being positive about yourself, saying, owning your experiences, owning your achievements, because that's what's expected. No one is expecting a CV that says nothing positive about you. No one is expecting that. They are expecting a positive statement of someone's skills and how they apply to the job or the fellowship call or whatever it might be. So you have to play the game. And again, people think, well, do I need to write about myself strongly in a fellowship application? Absolutely you do, because it's a personal award. If I'm giving you a job, I'm giving it to you. This is where we need to play the game. So it's expected that you will write something positive. So employers, and I've done this myself when I'm recruiting, are expecting people to be, yes, upbeat about coming to work with me, for instance, but we're also expecting, a polished, glowing CV and a letter which outlines your accomplishments. And if we don't get that, there's almost it's like a wrong tone. So you need to play the game. So if you're not writing positively about yourself, actually, it's worse than just not doing it, because you'll be slightly out of kilter with everyone else. So employers, funders are expecting positivity, so give it to them. I'm a big fan. I'm not a big fan of spreadsheets. I do use them, but I'm not a spreadsheet nerd. I know spreadsheet nerds, but I think there is a place for making sure that you have everything, and I literally mean everything you have ever done, in a spreadsheet. And that includes positive feedback, big achievements, small achievements, all sorts of things. So you could have, different sheets in the spreadsheet. You could get super complicated about it. But you, alongside things like every qualification that you've got, my GCSEs are now quite a long time ago. So I've actually got them written down so that I can remember what I got and when it was. But you need to have those facts and figures, but also think about having a column or whatever it might be for personal achievements. So it might be things that you've got some brilliant feedback from a student. Now, I know if I keep things like that in my inbox, when it comes to trying to find them, I'm not going to, or I forget they're there. When you get a brilliant piece of feedback, or you've had a major achievement in your life. Quite often in academia, we're like, next. Don't do that. Write it down. Take a moment to celebrate the fact that that paper went in. I know it's on your publication list, but to write it down. I published this, or I got a brilliant piece of feedback from my talk at the conference, or a student clicked with a piece of work. Document these things, keep them safe. Some people like jotting them down in, a book. I think having digital copies in this day and age are really great for pulling out examples, especially something like student feedback, when you need to describe what an excellent teacher you've been or write a teaching statement for a lectureship. You need to have all those things collated somewhere that you can then pull out. If I was to ask you, give me an example of when you've helped a student understand a difficult concept. If you are in the habit of recording these, then you've got them there. It's and when you were putting together your teaching statement, you would have looked at them. So when you get to interview, you'll be able to talk about them positively. To making sure that you've collated everything that is great about yourself. We wouldn't dream of doing something without evidence. So we wouldn't plot a graph, we wouldn't make up the numbers. So in the same way, on your CV, you will have plenty of evidence for great communication skills, project management, leadership, mentoring, all this usual job advert desires. What you need to do is have them ready to go in the spreadsheet or a document. It can be a Word document, whatever. But having them collated somewhere meaningful with that sort of extra sheet of joyful things will put you in a positive mood when it comes to applying. You've got everything at your fingertips. If you haven't got these ready and you think, I'll do that. It is always a scramble when you see your ideal job. So we might see one today on jobs.ac.uk and the deadline is Friday. It's quite common to have short deadlines. Deadline's Friday, you're going to be scrabbling around. So my big piece of advice here is start today. You don't have to do that whole spreadsheet, but start today. Make the file, put in your school qualifications, put in your degree qualifications as a start. Put in highlights about your degree, your PhD, etc. All this will then collate into building a successful application, whether that's a CV, an application letter, or some sort of form. So make sure that you've collated these things, especially the positive feedback that you have along the way. And that could be informal, or it could be numbers, if you've had student things or people who have attended my conference talks. Keep all these things. You never know when they're going to be useful. And it's certainly something that I wish, if I'd had my time again, would have started much, much earlier. Okay. Thinking about using active words in even a curriculum vitae, we think of it as this dry document. If you can, think about using words like led, initiated, developed, pioneered, perhaps. Those sorts of words, bringing them into a dry document like a CV immediately enlivens us. We get a picture, and this is important, get a picture in our head of you doing that. These active words really do promote that. Okay, I can see them doing that. If you're struggling with active words, there are plenty on various job sites, but have a look at some of the CVs or biographies of people in your field a bit further up. How do they describe themselves? Now, it might not be that the case that you're a world-leading expert in, biotechnology. And that might be the example that you're looking at slightly above you. But you will be one day if you stick down this track. So how do they describe themselves? If you're looking at jobs outside academia, have a look on LinkedIn about the about profiles of people. How do they describe themselves? You're a researcher, you can pick out active words that apply to yourself. And importantly, we won't put anything on our documents unless we've got the evidence. So this is where either your spreadsheet or you see a description, you go, oh, actually, I've done that. The number of one-to-ones that I have with people where they go, oh, can I put that on my CV? And it's something amazing that is very relevant to the job. And it's like, yes, you can. Oh, okay. What about being awarded Teacher of the Year at university of your choice? Yes, I think that might be relevant to your lectureship. So quite often there are things in our experience, in our past, that we've forgotten about, which is where the spreadsheet comes in. But also thinking, okay, so how can I put that? I could put that under awards. But again, using an active word, so voted best teacher is better than just best teacher award because it's got that sort of participative sound to it. So thinking of using those active words throughout, but also backing them up with evidence. So you wouldn't say, I'm a world leader in without some evidence, I'm a world leader in this field, having been asked to speak at various keynote conferences and developed this technique. Perfect. You've got your statement and your evidence. You will have a lot more evidence than you think. You're probably sat there looking at your computer going, yes, Emma, that's fine if you've got all those things. Trust me, you have a lot more than you think to put on your applications, which is where my other tip comes in, is getting feedback. And again, I would encourage you to do this before you're in that panic to apply for things, is to ask the people who you know, like, and trust for feedback and specific feedback. So what would you say are my top 3 skills? So make sure that they don't have to write lots because they're doing you a favour. What are my top 3 skills? What would you say that I'm excellent at? Those, I hate using I'm excellent at words, but what would you say are you excellent at? I did this exercise with my clients, so universities who employ me, a couple of weeks ago, partly as some homework for a course that I'm doing. And I was amazed at the responses that I got. They pulled out strengths that I'd either just not really thought about, or that they pulled out strengths that I really didn't give enough importance to. And I think it's that feedback that you can have from other people that can be really, really useful. The best feedback that you could get in this sort of arena is from someone who you've worked for, because chances are you're applying to work for someone else. But that can be a really tricky thing to do in academia, depending on how you get on with your principal investigator. But friends, peers, other postdocs, other researchers, even don't forget researchers who perhaps moved on. That might be even easier to ask than perhaps someone who you're sharing a lab with. A quick email saying, I'm applying for jobs. I'm trying to put together a really positive application. I wonder if you could just help me outline my top 3 strengths and perhaps one thing that I'm excellent at. The answers will surprise you. I've done this with people before and they've gone, oh, I can't ask. They've plucked up courage to ask, and then they've got some amazing responses. And I can tell you, for one, that the exercise I did 3 weeks ago, asking my clients for feedback, I didn't want to. I felt a bit, But once I got those replies in, it was like, okay, so this is what you really value. Okay, I hadn't really put enough emphasis on that. I need to be doing more of that with my other clients. So for me, it was a really great way of getting better myself, but also being able to articulate better to other people in my marketing what I do. And your application is your marketing document. We've got this little picture of Johari Window, which I'm just going to end on for you to think about. So Johari Window is named after Joe and Harry, two men who put this together. And we've got a little quadrant. So there are things that we know and along the bottom, and things that are known to others, so going up the top. So in quadrant 1, we've got everything that I know and you know. So you know my name's Emma, you know I like coffee. Okay, open stuff. Things that you know that I don't know are my blind spot. I don't know without asking for feedback. Now that feedback might be great. Wouldn't it be lovely if it all was? Or it might be, a bit more critical, but that's fine. That gives you something to work on. That blind spot, what we can't see, it's important to try and shed some light on that, and that's what feedback does. The other thing that we can do is that we can tell other people about things that help them understand us better. So a simple version of this is telling the people around you that you're looking for a job in this particular industry. If they don't know that, they can't help you. That's a hidden self until you announce it to the world. And that process of feedback and, importantly, that disclosure will allow that quadrant 4 to come into play, shed some light into that unknown self, those potentials that are there. But I will leave those for another Career Puccino because my time is up. If you have any questions, just pop them in the Q&A. Other things that I can do to help you are I work one-on-one with people going through applications. So if you're really struggling, then just drop me a line and we can see what we can do for you. Otherwise, if there are no questions, I will leave you to your Monday. I hope you have a fabulous week and that whatever you are endeavouring to do this week goes absolutely swimmingly. Join me next week for another Career Puccino. It would be wonderful